All right. Hello and welcome to Virtual College Exploration, sponsored by New Jersey ACAC for all New Jersey students. Just a few quick reminders before we get going. You might ask Hattie, ask a question, use the Q&A button to type your questions to the presenters at any time during the presentation. You'll see that at the bottom. Please keep your microphone, your camera and your microphone are off, so we cannot see you. You are muted and your video is off. So just so you're aware of that. We do encourage you to sign up for more sessions. This is only one of many college presentations offered, and you can check out the schedule at www.njacac.org/virtual-fair. And just so you know, recordings will be available. They're all being recorded, so you can access them at www.njacac.org/virtual-fair. Okay, so I am going to turn this over to our representative from the University of Florida.
Hi, y'all. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to share my screen so then everyone can see my lovely PowerPoint. All right. So my name is Jeannie, like in a bottle, and I am the admissions representative for University of Florida. During this presentation, I will talk about Gainesville and UF, just so you can understand and learn a little more of campus, but also what there is to do in Gainesville, just because I realize students haven't been able to visit campus. Then towards the end of the presentation, I will talk about what the admissions process looks like. So here we go. UF at a glance. Right now, we are ranked number 6 within top public universities, which means we give students the resources to be successful during and after their college career. We do have a large student body on campus. We have about 56,000 students total, 36,000 undergrad, and about 14% of our students are out of state. Most of our students are coming from the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Long Island area. So there is still a strong Northeast presence down in the South. We also have all states on campus, and 131 countries are represented on our campus. We do have a 97% freshman retention rate, which is higher than the national average at 88%. Pretty much what that means is students are making those connections within their major and gaining the knowledge to be successful. So they are coming back for their second year, but also graduating with UF. We are your very traditional college town. So the best way that I can describe it is like Penn State. So our campus is just in one location, so you don't have to go to other campuses or anything like that. The whole city does shut down for game day, and there's lots of school pride and spirit. Wherever you are, you will always see blue and orange, and if you are wearing Gator colors, you'll always get a Go Gators. When it comes to UF, we do have over 120 different majors for students to choose from. When you are applying to University of Florida, you are just applying to the university as a whole, not a major. So the best way that I can tell students is we're like the opposite of Rutgers. So we're not looking at majors when we're making our admissions decisions, but also don't think if you pick one major over the other, you have a better chance of getting in, because we're not looking at that. We just added artificial intelligence, making us the largest supercomputer in higher education, and we are doing research in cybersecurity, healthcare, and also agriculture, to name a few. But that's also leading into research, and we have over $900 million worth of research last year. This gives students the chance to do research if they would like to, and we do have a center for undergraduate research. I know when I was looking for colleges, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do research, so I wanted to have the option to do research, and at UF you do. We do have a vibrant and active student life on campus, and I say this just because we have over 2,000 events each year happening on campus. So we do have guest lectures like Bill Nye the Science Guy, we've had Stephen King, Pitbull, but also Michelle Obama as guest lecturers. We also have over 1,000 clubs and student organizations. So if you really want to live out your Harry Potter dream, we do have a Quidditch club. We have a roller coaster design, salsa, but we also have the professional and academic focused clubs and organizations. We also have over 55 intramural sports and club sports. So if you do want to travel and be active like you are in high school, you still have that chance to do that at UF. Our club sports do travel all throughout. So my favorite memory is our women's rugby team played against Temple in Philly. And I was able to go watch them play. So here are a few photos of campus, just so that you can see what campus has to offer and things like that. So where you see that the person with the orange shirt with a shaving cream, that is our school president. His name is President Fox. I think he's a really rad guy, just for a couple reasons. So during graduation time, when students are taking graduation photos, he will always photobomb students. So it's always really fun. You could always see it on like TikTok or Instagram, him photobombing someone. Last year, he did buy a whole class 300 pizzas because someone put his name down for a final exam question. Sometimes you'll see him doing like golf cart, Uber, or Lyft. So you never know what he'll do, but he's always willing to take a picture with a student. Underneath that, you are able to see our stadium. Our stadium fits over 90,000 students and Gator fans. So at the end of the third quarter, it's a very bonding moment where everyone sings this one song. And even if you're not in Gainesville, but if you happen to be at a restaurant, so sometimes this happens to me when I'm in Philly, I'm at a restaurant and there's some Gator fans, everyone will sing this song. So even if you aren't in Gainesville or on campus, you can still feel a part of the community because everyone's singing this song. Underneath that, you are able to see a picture of our parade. So the Friday before our homecoming game, we do cancel classes. So during the day, we usually have a parade. This parade goes from downtown Gainesville all the way to campus. And then at nighttime, we do have the largest student-run pep rally, which is called the Gator Brawl. So what's really fun about that is we usually have a musical artist come, or sometimes a comedian. So in the past, we've had Ty Dolla $ign, Khalid, Passion Pit, Chase Rice, and we've also had like Kevin Hart on campus. Next to that, you are able to see our mopeds. So if you really want to live out your European dream, you could do that in the city of Gainesville. When it comes to transportation in Gainesville, we do have free public transportation for students within the city of Gainesville, but also on campus. So you don't need to bring your car if you don't want to, but you can bring your car onto campus if you'd like. Then on the other side where you see that sunset photo, that is one of my favorite buildings on campus, just because every day at noon, a student within the music department will run up and play a song. So it could be a wide variety of songs. So one of my favorite times was Beyonce. So you are able to have that experience if you'd like. And every day at noon, it's something different. So you never know what you're going to get when you are near campus. Next, this is just an overview of campus, so then students are able to see where the hotspots are. I like to show this because, yes, we are a large campus, but I'll talk about where some of the spots where most of our students interact. So in the middle of the screen, you are able to see Plaza of Americas. So in this plaza, you'll be able to find a lot of clubs and organizations, but also if you want to do homework or also find free food, everyone loves free food, you are able to find that in that area. In the left-hand corner where you see Rights Student Union, you'll be able to find a lot of offices there. So if you're interested in Greek life, study abroad, or like community service, you're able to find those offices in there. Also, you are able to find a lot of different food and restaurants in there. We don't get the name The Swamp without a little bit of rain. So we do have a movie theater. So if it's raining and you ever want to catch a movie, you could do that right on campus and don't have to go too far. On the other side of that, you are able to see our stadium. I like to show this so then students are able to see that you don't have to travel far for football games, and our stadium is right on campus. Right next to the stadium, you will be able to find our basketball coliseum. So you will be able to watch other sports as basketball, volleyball, wrestling, and gymnastics, just to name a few. That's a little bit about campus and an overview. Next, I will talk about what Gainesville has to offer and what you could do in the city of Gainesville. So when it comes to Gainesville, we are located in North Central Florida. So right where you see that blue star, we are smack dab in the middle of the state. So we are about an hour away from each coast. So you won't be able to go every single day, but you are able to go there a lot frequently than if you were somewhere else. When it comes to Gainesville, we do have our own airport, and it's only about 10 to 15 minutes away from campus. So I make that commute anywhere from 2 to 3 times a year, so I'm very familiar with that route. If you don't want to fly in and out of Gainesville, you could fly out of Orlando, which is about 2 hours away, also Disney. We are about an hour, hour and a half away from Jacksonville, and about 2.5 hours away from Tampa. I give you a range just because, one, I'm a New Yorker, so I can usually make it there in less time than that. But a lot of people do retire in Florida, so you never know who you'll get behind on the roadway. When it comes to Gainesville, and especially our downtown area, it's about 10 minutes away, 10, 15 minutes away walking. So you are able to walk to the downtown area. It's very easy accessible. So when it comes to the downtown, I like to say it kind of reminds me of like the Gilmore Girls. So you'll find a lot of local restaurants, a lot of local boutiques. You won't really find a lot of chain restaurants in our downtown area. Also, they like to have farmers markets. There's always live music. There's always something happening in the downtown area. But if you really want to escape the city life or campus, we do have a lot of nature preserves and springs for you to enjoy. So where you see that green with the walkway, that is one of the popular natural parks within Gainesville. So there's a lot of trails. You're able to see really pretty sunsets, some alligators, but one of my favorite things you're able to see is wild horses. I think coming from the Northeast, being able to see wild horses is really awesome. Underneath that, you are able to see some natural springs. We have a wide variety of natural springs in the city of Gainesville. So you are able to swim in them. If you'd like to float, some of them are available for floating. And depending on your major, you are able to do either research, or sometimes they'll take students there for field labs. So then you are able to get that hands-on experience. Next to that, you are able to see Lake Wahlberg. So if you're really into the outdoors activities, you are able to do that. So if you like to canoe or kayak or want to learn, you have those opportunities. We also do have the outdoor climbing wall and bouldering. There's trails for mountain biking, but also sand courts for volleyball. So lots of outdoor activities. Above that, we do have the largest bat houses in the world. So every night, once the sun goes down, you are able to see them do their thing. We also do research with the bats, but they also help with pest control. And then where you see the ladder going down into the blue, that is called Devil's Den. So if you ever look up what are some of the popular things to do in the state of Florida, this is one of them. And this is about 30 to 40 minutes away from campus. And you're able to snorkel or scuba dive if you'd like to. And the water is so blue, the picture does not do it justice. I like to talk about this just so then you can see what else Gainesville has to offer, so you know what you could do on the weekends. So now I come to the really fun stuff, which is the admissions process. So when it comes to UF, there's a few things that I want to talk about before I go on to the next slide. So when it comes to the admissions process, we do not look at recommendation letters and we do not look at transcripts. So you don't have to send those in, but that also means you don't have to wait on anyone to complete your application. So when it comes to UF, there are a couple different ways for you to be a part of Gainesville and UF. So we do have Innovation Academy. So Innovation Academy is a little different, and that's just because students will take classes spring and also summer. So that means your whole fall will be completely free. Some students decide to do that because internships are not as competitive. When you are a part of Innovation Academy, you do graduate with a minor in innovation. Then we do have the honors program, which you are able to apply through the Common App or the Coalition application. And then also we have the PACE program, which is Pathway to Campus Enrollment. So what that means is your first 2 years will be online, and then you transition to campus. So the last 2 years, you will be on campus taking classes. When it comes to the PACE program, it may not be a full 2 years, but so if you are taking any dual enrollment or AP classes, it could be shorter than that. And then the admissions process when it comes to UF. So the most important deadline is November 1st. November 1st, I tell students, yes, it says priority deadline, but consider it a hard deadline. If you apply after November 1st, it says space opens up, and that usually doesn't happen, and we don't do a wait list. So I always say, make sure your application is in by November 1st. Then December 1st is another deadline. When it comes to that, that is our student self-reported academic record. So this is where you will type in your classes and tell us your grades. If there happens to be any sophomores or juniors in here, we don't do pluses or minuses. So we only do a solid letter grade. So if you have a B minus, that's great because it becomes a B. But if you have a B plus, it only becomes a B. So you really want to strive for either that minus or that solid letter grade. For seniors, when we're doing this, we are just going to ask what type of classes you're taking, just to make sure that you are taking a rigorous course load and not taking 8 periods of study hall. Also, when it comes to the SSAR, if you are applying to any public Florida universities, we use this system. If you are applying to any other school, so like Penn State, University of Pittsburgh, or maybe Rutgers, they use a different system. So just make sure you're filling out the right one. If not, you will receive a ton of emails from us saying you need to do it. And then as of right now, we are still requiring test scores when it comes to the admissions process at UF. So those are not due until December 15th. So you have time in November and December to take those tests if you would like. If you happen to take one of those tests, we do recommend requesting those scores be sent when you are taking the test, just to make sure that we get them on time. If you reach all 3 of these deadlines, everyone finds out the same day if they get in or not, and that's the last Friday in February. We do it later during the day, so then you could be in your safe space and not around other people, but then also that way you're not distracted during school. These dates also do not change. So if you are a sophomore or junior, these dates will still be relevant for next year or 2 years from now. When it comes to those scores that you are seeing at the bottom of the screen, the SAT and the ACT, those are super scored. This year, we realized students were not able to take it as many times in the past. So it's okay if you don't have these scores. It's just, I don't have scores for this year, so I couldn't update the slide. When it comes to the GPA, that is weighted and recalculated. We do that just because your school is different than Florida, than California. So this allows everyone to be on the same playing field. We don't want to give anyone an advantage or a disadvantage. So that's why we do recalculate. I will also say this GPA does look high, and that's also just because in the state of Florida, students are able to take AP classes freshman year of high school, where we do realize in the Northeast, sometimes students aren't able to do it until junior or senior year. So it's okay if your grades are not within this range, and this is just around 50%. So I have seen people with lower scores get in, so don't worry when it comes to scores in tests, because at UF, we also realize students are a lot more than just their grades and the types of classes that they're taking. And we are looking at everything, the big picture. When it comes to this slide, we're looking at everything. So when it comes to the essay and the activities and involvement, Be as descriptive as possible. And I say this for two reasons. One, we don't do interviews, so consider your application like the interview. But then also, this application is also the same application that we use for scholarships. So you won't have to do another application or anything when it comes to scholarships. So the essay, be as creative as you'd like. I read a lot of essays each year. So I've had a student compare herself to a pineapple. I've also had a student say how her life was a different type of starburst, each section of her life. I also had a student say he was Captain America, but how all of his other friends were these other Marvel superheroes. When it comes to activities and involvement, please include anything and everything you are doing outside the classroom. So if you are helping your siblings with Zoom, especially during this time, please include that. Or if you are helping your neighbors, include that. Religious involvement, jobs, internships, research, anything you're doing, please include it within the application. Once your application is submitted at UF, no changes can be made. And that's just because we start reviewing applications once we start getting them. And then also we do get a lot of applications each year, and it's not fair if we are able to change one application and not the other. So that's why we don't allow any changes to be made. And that's all that I have. This is my contact slide. You are able to take a screenshot of it if you'd like. So it has my email and also my phone number. Also, you will not hurt my feelings if you don't take a screenshot, because I will never know. So now I can answer any questions if you have them. You could just put them in the chat, and there we go. So someone is asking, are we offering any tours in person? As of right now, we are not requiring any tours, but our campus is open. So if you happen to be in Gainesville or in the state of Florida, you are able to walk around if you'd like to. We do have a virtual tour online, so you are able to see that if you'd like to. Are you required to live on campus as a freshman? So at UF, we do not require students to live on campus if they do not want to. But with that, we do not guarantee housing. So after you apply to UF, you will receive an email a few days later to do the housing application. I do recommend doing that just because housing goes as first come, first serve based on when you do the housing deposit, not when you apply to UF. So if you want to be able to have all the options to pick your resident hall, you want to do that sooner than later. So what is the criteria for in-state and out-of-state? So when it comes to the admissions process, we are residency blind. So we do not look where students are applying from. So the criteria is the same for in-state and out-of-state students. So when it comes to tuition, our tuition is just around $43,000. Or that's the cost of attendance. So that's going to include everything. So room and board, if you're buying textbooks, and that's just the estimate. When it comes to just tuition, tuition is just over $28,000. When it comes to the bigger number, the $43,000, it really does depend on what type of resident hall you pick. So if you pick a really new one that has all the amenities, that's going to be a little more expensive. Or if you pick a more expensive meal plan, that is also that can also factor into it being higher cost. Within the 43,000, they're saying that you're going to spend each year $1,200 on a computer, which you're not going to every single year. So that's just an estimate, but tuition is right around 28. Is the SAT or the ACT preferred over the other? No, we do not care which one you take. We just want to see a test score. So it's okay if you only took the ACT over the SAT. We just want to see those scores come in. When it comes to our scholarships, we also use the holistic review. So it's not just if you have this GPA and this test score, that's how you get the scholarship. We're looking at the big picture and everything when it comes to those scholarships. So it's not, some schools have like a tier system where if you have this, you get this. At UF, nope. We're just looking at the same application that you're applying to UF as. Someone's asking, are there different admission requirements based on your major? When it comes to the admissions requirements based on your major, no. And that's just because when you're applying to UF, you're just applying to the university as a whole. So we don't even look at the majors that students are applying. And that's just for a few reasons. About 2/3 of our students do change their major at UF. I know I changed my major 5 times in college, so it happens. But also students even change their major their senior year. So we don't want students to feel like they have to stay with this major all 4 or 5 years just because we realize you don't know what you're learning yet. You may learn other things and have different interests. So that's why we don't have requirements and we don't admit by major. Sorry, I made a face. So someone's asking, does UF participate in the semester SE program? I made a face because I did that program twice in college. So that usually never happens. Yes, they do participate in the program. So one of my really good friends during the semester SE program was actually from UF. So you are able to do that. We are one of 5 that have this award from Senator Paul Simon for our international efforts. So right around 2,500 students each year go study abroad. So you have those opportunities. We also offer some shorter programs that are just 2 weeks long if you'd like to and just dabble. So those ones are a little more topic specific. One of my favorite programs to talk about, we have one that's called Vampire and Empire. So they go to Europe and England specifically, and they look at how vampires have changed throughout literature. And you're like, what does that mean? So they look at Dracula and how Dracula was super scary, and then look at how Twilight, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, vampires are hot. And just looking at the evolution of vampires throughout literature and history and how society does that. But we also do have the traditional 3 months, 6 months, and a year abroad. I'm so sad. I'm so happy someone asked about semester at sea. Someone's asking, what 3 words would you use to describe the typical UF students? I would say adventurous, just because there's a lot of things to do on campus, but also you have to be willing to put yourself out there. We are a big campus, and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you can feel like you may get lost. And I say adventurous, so then you can go out and join different clubs, meet people, so then you could really find your safe space, your community, and make this big campus feel a lot smaller for you. I would say driven. We have a lot of the top programs, top 10, top 20 programs at UF. So our courses and our rigor is there. We want to make sure students are prepared for whatever they decide to do next, either grad school, medical school, internships. And then I would say, someone who's willing to have that community. At UF, everyone is always there for each other, and in multiple ways, either finding that support when you're down or game day spirits. I think community would be the best way, just because when I'm walking around campus, because I'm not on campus often, I'm always lost. And there's always someone willing to be there to help me and point me in the right direction. So just looking out for each other is a great feeling on campus. Yeah, so when someone's asking about athletic facilities, so we do have a couple of different gyms on campus that students are able to use, just depending on where your resident hall is, or if there's a certain thing that you would like to use. I'm trying to think. Pam, would you like to add anything for the athletic facilities?
We have swimming pools. The students can use the swimming pools. And of course, you already mentioned the volleyball courts. There's a cricket field. I've seen the clubs play cricket and on that open field. There's also a skate park if you're into skating. There's a skate park for you on campus. You mentioned the bike paths, especially down off campus. There are a lot of bike paths you can go on. Workout facilities, there's the stadium. You want to run some steps for a living for a little bit of time? Have at it. Our stadium is open. Just can't get on the field, but you can do all those steps you want.
Thanks, Pam. I'm not athletic at all. Someone's asking, do you recommend living on campus? I do recommend living on campus, at least that first year, just because I was also an out-of-state student, and living on campus, it allows you to get to know campus and the resources really well, just because they're very easily accessible. And it helps you learn campus a lot, especially if you're not from Florida or haven't been. This allows you to meet people, get familiar with it, so then if you do decide to move off of campus, you feel more comfortable and you know where things are and things like that. Oh, what are your most popular major? Which one are you most known for? So when it comes to popular majors, I would usually say engineering, our business program, our architecture program is one of the oldest. We also do have the #1 entomology program. So if you really want to study bugs, there's also that. I'm trying to think of what else. Pam, do you want to add any popular or
Sport management is really popular with my California students. They like to do sport management and sport journalism. I'll throw those two in there.
Public health is also pretty big, just because we do have a teaching hospital on campus, and our infectious diseases program is one of the most popular programs within there. So UF does do a lot of work with HIV, AIDS, but also bird flu all the way to Ebola. And this year our teaching hospital was working on ventilators for COVID patients.
One of our least popular ones, but they're super cool, is the digital arts, where you work with like the green screens and you're designing all these backgrounds you can do for digital, for games, for different things. It's not very well known, but like we've toured over there and it's amazing. It's just like the least known major we have.
And so backing off of what Pam said, if you ever watch any of the commercials for like the PGA tour, so like the golf, one of the alum is the one that works on making those commercials. So I think that's a pretty cool fun fact. So someone's asking, what are the other costs of fees other than tuition? So if you ever look up like cost of attendance, so it's going to include like room and board, meniscus things. They usually include like clothing within that, textbooks, meals. Um, I'm trying to think of if there's anything else. I think that's pretty much it when it comes to like if you're looking at our website and what it includes. All that other stuff that I pretty much said is just other things that could really vary. So it may not be the full 43 that I said earlier. They just like to give you a range just so then you know the estimate of what it could cost to come to UF. When it does come to UF, we haven't raised our tuition in a few years and we don't see ourselves doing that. So I really take a lot of pride in that, just because some universities, they do change or raise their tuition every single year. That's not something that we've done at UF for the last 4 or 5 years. Someone's asking, what are the campus traditions? So the ones that I can really remember are the ones that are kind of focused around sports. So we have the Gator Walk, like walk. So either athletes, but also fans will make this walk to the stadium. At the end of the third quarter, everyone sings it's a Tom Petty song called I Won't Back Down. So this is like the Kumbaya moment on campus. Pam, you're an alum. Do you have any traditions that you'd like to add?
I can think of one for graduation. So after everybody graduates, or when you have your regalia on for graduation, there's a big gator statue out by the football stadium, and everybody goes to the big gator statue and you get your picture taken with the gator, and people lay on the gator and you put your head in the mouth of the gator and you do all these fun things with the gator for your picture. So you have your picture for the rest of your life in your regalia with the gator. That's one thing that I can think of right off the bat. Of course, the traditions that we're not doing this year, we have also, like you said, Jeannie, around sports, homecoming. So there's a homecoming parade, there's activities, there's concerts, but not this year, but any other year, that usually goes on as well. That includes Gator Growl. Some of the traditions like spring break time, instead of going to like Cancun or Miami for spring break, sometimes the students will all get together and they go do a project for like helping. They may go rebuild something, or they may help teach a small population of children someplace. They do something nice, giving back during their spring break. That's sort of a tradition on campus as well.
Thanks, Pam. Someone's asking, how does Greek life work on campus? So when it comes to Greek life, students will usually rush. So this is like the recruitment process of it. So there is a website where students would go in and like fill out information. So then that way you can get information about Greek life. We do have 61 different types of Greek organizations. So we do have like the social ones, cultural ones, but also academic or professional focused ones. So you are able to partake in those if you'd like to. About 15 to 18%, because it changes every year, of our students participate in Greek life. We don't really have a Greek street, like a Greek row. I call them Greek streets just because they're kind of scattered all like surrounding campus. I tell students, if you're looking for it, great, you will be able to find it. But for if anyone that's not interested in it, don't worry about it. It's not something that you're going to be missing out or feel like you're left out while on campus. And I say that just because we do have over those 1,000 clubs and student organizations. So you are able to find your community without having to join like Greek life if you don't want to. I think we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions before we wrap up. What support services are available, advisors, tutors, etc. So when it comes to UF, every student will get an advisor, even if that means you are doing the pre-med track. So sometimes if you're doing like a pre-health profession, or you'll get an advisor for pre-health, just to make sure that you are taking the right courses to be successful to apply for medical programs and making your application stand out. When it comes to tutors, there is a wide variety of free tutoring on campus. So usually within like the library, also within like the resident halls, so there'll usually be like a math or English tutor there, maybe once or twice a week, so students are able to do that. And that's for most of like the really popular programs, so like chemistry, or if you just need help with writing, we have a writing center that will look over research papers, essays, and anything like that. Am I forgetting anything, Pam?
You Matter We Care for mental support. We have that on campus, and it's part of like every Gator Counts.
And you matter we care pretty much is, like Pam said, it helps with like mental health. So if you're feeling really down, or if you just need like a buddy, they'll go and help you, like take you like for coffee or anything like that. Or if you're hurt, a faculty member will meet you at the hospital, just so then you're not there by yourself, especially being an out-of-state student. And I think we are at time. So I want to thank you for joining and learning a little more about UF. And I hope you all have a great night, and go Gators. Oh, and the Gator Chomp. There we go.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Oops, sorry. There's going to be a quick survey after you close this window. There's a 4-question survey will appear, so please take the time to fill that out. We welcome you to sign up for more sessions. Check out the schedule on njaacac.org/virtual fair. And as I mentioned in the beginning, recording will be available. at the same website, www.njacac.org/virtual fair. Have a great night. Thank you for coming. Thank you.